You found the coolest place to be, the PlayStation collecting season. Come on, won't you stay with me? Welcome to the show. Gather round the boys and girls, collectors from around the world. Let's show the people what they need to know. Welcome to the show. Gonna talk to guests, only got the best. Gonna put their knowledge to the test. Gonna laugh at me, gonna live the dream. Gonna show you things you've never seen. Gonna sing the song to the break of dawn. Gonna run this party all night long. So come on everybody, let me see you dance. Get yourself ready for one more chance. You found the coolest place to be, the PlayStation collecting season. Come on, won't you stay with me? Welcome to the show. Gather round the boys and girls, collectors from around the world. Let's show the people what they need to know. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Hey.
Hey, hey.
What's going on? Welcome
No,
to
not really.
PlayStation Collectors Podcast, Season 3, Episode 28. Is it Episode 28? I'm wondering. Was
Season
that-
4, you mean, right?
What did I
Yeah,
say?
season 4.
You said season
Look at
3,
time
yeah.
traveling.
We're going back.
in time. We're doing retro. So retro. No, season 4. But I'm nervous. So was last week episode 28? No, I'm not sure. Either way, it's a bonus
Could be
episode.
29. Just double check.
Yeah, well, we'll fix it in post if we need to. We'll fix the thumbnail.
Well, this is a celebration episode, more of a relaxed episode. We're just going to kind of chill
Yeah.
and talk about the kind of like a year in review of what's happening in the gaming community and,
Mhm.
a little bit of how we enjoyed Christmas possibly and what we expect maybe next year, something like
Hell
that.
yeah.
And there's a lot happened in the last week anyway, so it's going to be heaps to talk about.
Yeah, definitely a lot that's happened, man. Like, dude, I not to start off strong, but man, I don't know what's happening with the video game community, man. Like modern games, man. But I feel I'm kind of nervous where it's going. These long development cycles for games, and these games are kind of flopping and everything like that. That's pretty scary, And I'll say that I was a Dragon Age, fan up until I want to say the third game. Well,
I agree with you. I like the first two.
Well, the thing, I haven't played the third game yet. That's the thing. So that's why I say up until the third game. But the fourth game, with the whole thing that's happened with that, is pretty crazy. But don't want to go into too much into that because we talked about that a lot before. But just give people an example, though. The future of gaming, like where some stuff is going. I would say.
I'll give you something crazy on the future of gaming. So I was chatting to a friend who's not a collector, right, but has video games, is a gamer, plays with his girlfriend who's also a gamer. And he just told me his Nintendo account got hacked, and he buys every game digitally. He just lost his every single game he owns.
Oh my
I'm
god.
like, man, that's where you got to buy them, and then you've always got them. He's like, yeah, I'm not buying digital again. I'm buying them all physical now. I just lost everything, and that's like that can happen. That is crazy.
No protection from Nintendo. That's insane. Like they couldn't like help him get his account back or nothing.
I think he's going through the process of trying to get them all back, but yeah,
It's probably a nightmare though. Nintendo's pretty. Out of all of them, Nintendo and I would say Microsoft are the best ones to deal with customer service wise, in my experience. But still, to lose all your stuff and the violation of you, like somebody hacking your stuff and just taking all your account over, that's messed up. And people are all after that stuff, and they want your account, they want your information. Like information is probably the highest bidding thing on the internet right now. They want your.
I mean, that's the equivalent of someone breaking into our houses and taking all our games, right?
Oh,
All of
100%.
them.
What's the difference?
That's
yeah,
rough,
all
too.
of them, not
You
leaving one
lose
behind.
access. It's not like you have a couple games laying around you can play in the meantime. Like if he buys them all digitally, that's bad news. That's no good.
Yeah,
It's also why I don't like do you remember that guy Cabrutus? They were trying to get his banned off of Steam. I don't know if you know him. He's one of the guys, one of the culture guys who started the like anti-Sweet Baby Inc. movement, Gamergate, all that stuff. Basically, he was the one who started that curated list, DEI detected or Sweet Baby detected. He's the one who started that. So what happened? The whole reason that started is like they were trying to flag his account and get him banned off Steam, so he would lose his Steam account. And he's from like Brazil or something like that. And games are very, very, very expensive in Brazil. Like he spent lots and lots and lots of money on there. And just the idea of like someone being able to be like, I don't like you, and flagging your account so you lose access to all the games you've ever purchased and all your like that's madness. Like that.
That's crazy.
That's just
Cancel culture. If 10,000 people are doing
Yes.
that, Steam might just ban you. You know, oh, this person's bad because everyone said they're bad.
Thank
Yeah.
goodness people are fighting back against cancel culture. I mean, like, dude, that's uncalled for. Like, seriously, like, just because you disagree with someone doesn't mean you got to try to cancel them or something like that. You know, they go to these crazy extremes, and it's like, what the hell?
There's another button on the internet that it's called the block button, and that's what I press and it's like that. You don't have to cancel someone; you can block them and you'll never see them again. It's wonderful.
There you go. Yeah, 100%.
And that's one of the things that was like really, I think, eye-opening for a lot of people, and I think that pushed people all over the edge with this situation is that like he wasn't even like all he was doing was being like, I'm just want people to know who worked on these games and ahead of time, and just to give you a heads up because so you can purchase it or not purchase it. That's it. It's all he did. Just informing the consumer about what they were buying. That's it. That's all he did. And they couldn't handle that. That was like too much for them. You can't have people know. They have to hide what they're doing, and you're not even allowed to know about it. That gotta be like, I gotcha.
No doubt, man.
If that's your business model, I'm just gonna say right now, like you should go out of business. Like if your business model is don't tell anybody we worked on that. It's a secret. They'll just let them find out after the fact. They'll let them get mad. That's like not a good business model.
So exactly. You know, speaking of the year, something that happened recently. You know, with the whole reveal of I forgot what the game's called, but it's by the people Naughty Dog who developed The Last of Us 2.
Yeah. I've already forgotten its name.
I know. I don't even know the game's name, but all the hate that game is getting right now, and they got to understand, man. They were going to get this hate anyways, even if the game appeared to be good. Oh, that's what it's called. Okay, I just want to kind of say they were going to get the hate that they're getting anyway because people were still mad at them about The Last of Us 2. So the way they doubled down, they were talking crap to the buyers and consumers. Yeah, no matter what kind of game they made next, it's going to get ragged on, and they don't like it.
Yeah, but they didn't have to do this. Like they would have known that they could have announced Jack and Daxter 4 or 5 or whatever the next Jack and Daxter or something, and everyone would have cheered and loved it because we haven't had this for years. But no, they decided to go the Concord road because that works. You know,
the Naughty Dog doesn't have like a lot of the people they had back in the day when a lot of the good games were coming out. You know, I forgot her name, but Amy something. She's gone. And Neil Druckmann, he's like the main guy on there now. His idea of a beautiful woman, man, is like, what the hell? Like, it's like when they did a comparison of like the women that were created by the other girl, Amy, and we talked about it last time on the last live stream. And I'm like, what the heck is going on here? But go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I mean, if you're gonna make a character that masculine, why not just make it a guy at that point? Like,
yeah, exactly.
I don't understand. Like, I legit don't. There's a lot of TV shows like that now. They just roll reverse though. They'll be like, the woman is the one who's strong and makes all the decisions, and the guy's always like, I don't know what to do. I need your help. And he's like, oh, like it's like they just. And the whole time I'm like, if this show came out 10 years ago, they would just be the same show, but they would just revert. It would be the guy and the other one would be the girl, but they just reversed it all. It's like, and after a while, it's the way it's like it's like a gimmick thing. And after a while, you know, it's kind of new and refreshing for a minute, but it gets old. And what I'll relate it to too is like death metal. For a while, if you had a female lead singer, that was fresh, new, and innovative. Like, because death metal singers for a long time, it was all just big, slimy, stinky, sweaty dudes, and that's all it was. There were no chicks. If you had a girl singer, that was like, wow. And there were bands that got very popular and that blew up, and it was like a big thing. But now there are like 1,000 bands like that. And I'm just like, oh, here's another cookie cutter band that thinks they can just put a chick as the lead singer, and that's going to be enough to sell albums. And it's not. It's like it's not interesting anymore. It's like old news. It's passé.
You got me thinking of like when Horizon Zero Dawn dropped. Like that felt refreshing, and it was great with that protagonist and everything. And,
and it's cyclical. After a while, though, you're like, oh, here we go again. And a thing with this whole issue too is like people always want to look at each game in its own isolated thing, like what's the problem with this and what's the problem with that. And I don't think people understand what it is it's pattern recognition over a long period of time. It's not just one game in isolation that is upsetting people. It's the last 8 years of this one after another, after another, after another, and after another, after another. It's like, how many times are you going to do this? You know what I mean? So to the point where now everyone just has like a knee-jerk reaction to it, regardless of whether it's actually justified, just because they're so sick of it. They've seen it so much. They're just like, enough. Like, I don't know. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. I think it's just too much of it over and over again for years. People are just sick of it.
It's interesting because we basically haven't seen gameplay and everyone's already decided that they hate the video game, you know. So got the most dislikes on a post on blah blah blah. So it's interesting to see if Naughty Dog will go back and change things now, or if they'll continue to stick with this.
No, they won't.
Well, the only way they'll change things if the money is not right. If people just stop buying this shit, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You got to hurt their pockets for them to pay attention. If you're not hurting their pockets, then that's when they continue this stuff or whatever like that. And I think the majority of their fan base, at least half of them, are, you know, they don't want to pay for this shit. You know what I mean? So, you know, here's another example too, man. Like, I love The Last of Us Part 1. It had a motivating story with Joel and what happened with him. And I played that game multiple times and enjoyed it. The second game I only played once, and I can never go back to it. And gameplay wise, the second game is way better. But the stories is like, what the hell, man? Like, this revenge story, these two women, it's like depressing. It's like, if you want to be depressed, play Last of Us 2. If you want to be depressed and have some kind of like a happy closure, you know, or some kind of build up or whatever like that, play Part 1. You know what I mean? You feel accomplished after beating the first game. If you beat the second game, you're like, what the fuck just happened? You know?
Thank God.
I was like, this is so depressing. And then I don't know if you guys watch the series. The first season, you didn't pay attention. Well, if you ever watch it, if you guys ever watch
3 episodes, Reggie.
3, oh no, that's the messed up part. You watched 3. I was gonna tell you, skip episode 3. Skip episode 3. Watch every other episode because episode 3 was some weird shit.
Episode 3 was very lovely, and then I stopped watching. Thanks. I didn't do it for that. I was here to watch a show. I was told there would be zombies.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and the show does things right sometimes, and then something like, oh, what the hell?
I took it one step further. I stopped playing halfway through too. I was just not enjoying it, you know. And the gameplay was good. I just wasn't enjoying it.
Yeah, it's yeah, exactly, Fixie. And I'm like, that's why I'm going back to, like, you know, playing a game once. That game was like a $60 game when it first came out. You know, a AAA title. I did too, thankfully.
That's the only time I heard so many bad things about it. I was like not even going to buy it, but then when it was $9.99, I was like, all right, I own the first one, I might as well. My OCD won out in the end because I'm like, I have Part 1, I should get Part 2. Yeah, and
I guess if there's a Part 3 that comes out, will you pick that one up?
No. For $10, sure. Yeah, for $9.99. Yeah. Same thing. Yeah. I'll play it. I'll play through it. Like, I don't let like the culture war determine whether or not I'm going to play a game or whether or not I enjoy it. Like, I bought Immortals of Avenium. Everyone said that game was terrible, and it wasn't great, but it was all right. I had a fun time shooting shit. The story was terrible, but I just skipped it.
Smart man.
I was like, whatever, I'll just skip it. But you know what pissed me off about that is they like paid money to have like some famous actress be in it, and I don't know her name, some actress. I've seen her on a bunch of stuff, and those sections they wouldn't let you skip them. Oh, I'm like, just because you paid this person money, I'm forced to watch this crap. But everything else I can skip. I was like, this is stupid.
I hate when a game doesn't allow you to do that. It's like, if I want to skip a cutscene, let me. And I'm going to talk about Metal Gear Solid. Like, I love Metal Gear Solid, but when I've played it 5 times and I'm replaying the first mission again, you got to make me watch this 10-minute cutscene. No.
I'm like one of the only few people that enjoyed the long cutscenes, man, especially from the first, Solid for PlayStation 1, because that game has such good voice acting. We were really truly getting good voice acting with Metal Gear Solid on the PS1. And the story, there's so many secrets and hidden dialogues in that game, dude. I was looking for like everything. But thank goodness you could skip the cinematics though. Like, could you imagine if you couldn't skip them? Like, that would drive people mad.
I feel like in 5 there were certain cutscenes you can't skip.
I didn't play all the way through 5. I played it through a portion, and then I kind of just fell off from it because it just didn't feel like it was like, I don't know, man. That game didn't feel finished.
You know what's the worst is when you're playing a game.
It wasn't finished because he left and they had to rush it. But in terms of gameplay, I think 5 is one of like the best games I've ever played in terms of like going into a base and taking out the guards. Like that's a very simple thing that so many games have tried, and I still feel like that's the best game to play if you just want to do that. Right. So fun.
You ever play like an old game where you'll be like stuck on a boss fight, and every time you have to die, if you die and you have to redo it, they make you watch the cutscene again.
Yeah, horrible.
Yeah. That's like hell when you're like, oh no, especially if it's like really hard and you've died like 5-10 times or something, and you're just like watching it for like the 10th time. Oh,
and then it's got a phase 2 with a cutscene in between.
That was very PS2 era. I feel like that happened a lot.
Yeah, and that gives me Metal Gear Solid vibes as well.
Yeah.
What a great
the reason I didn't fully get the platinum trophy on those games because it was just a nightmare in cutscenes.
I feel like just like back to what you were saying, Reggie. Modern AAA gaming is in trouble, and they pissed off their own consumer base. Like they've like legitimately agitated it, and they constantly are doing that.
Yeah.
And I don't see that changing anytime soon. I don't see these people having the intelligence enough to swallow their pride and suck up to people that they clearly don't like. You know what I mean? So like game developers should be saying thank you so much and like courting the fans and being nice to the fans, and you know what I mean? But they're not. They like resent them and they hate them and they're mad at them all the time. It's like, what the heck?
It's pretty scary, man. They're definitely trying to go after a different type of gamer, and it just the base of that gamer they're going after just doesn't really have a good percentage. So that's why these companies are going to keep losing money. You know, the gamers that have supported these companies for years on are the ones that they need to be looking at. You know, and I don't know why they're trying to go a different route. You know, like another game that got I'm not sure if it's going to be a bad game or whatever like that, but the whole Witcher thing. The Witcher 4, that reveal was okay, but I remember like watching it at the Video Game Awards, and they were like the camera was like looking like fanning on to the women who were watching the trailer, and they were cheering it on. And I'm looking at these girls like, you girls haven't even played the first 3 games. You're acting like you're happy because there's a woman in this one. It's like, get out of here. You're not true fans. I was like, dude, what the heck? But
yeah, it makes sense if Siri was the protagonist though. Like that wouldn't be out of place because. You know, you played as Siri for a third of The Witcher 3 as it was.
Yeah.
No, but they're acting like having a female lead is like, oh my god, something special or something. That's my point.
Yeah, it was not. Yeah, it was nothing special like that.
It's the millionth one. I can name 30 games in the last 5 years. They replaced the male protagonist with the female protagonist. It's like old news. All way doing. Look at the new Ghost of Yotai or whatever. It's like that. It's just they can't help themselves. They have no matter what, they always do it. And so like after the billionth time of it happening, that's why people are just having this like reaction, like enough is enough. I'm so sick of this shit.
Yeah, and it's happened for years with the female protagonists will come in. Like it even happened as early as games like Snow Brothers. You guys remember Snow Brothers, that game?
Hell yeah.
The Genesis version of the game, when you're trying to rescue the princesses, you get to the end of the game, you fight this boss. And all of a sudden, the Snow Brothers get kidnapped. So you take the princesses take over, and they finish the rest of the game. You know, everything like this. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, you're right, man. It's been happening for a while and everything. So,
dude, they replaced the guys from Wolfenstein with 2 chicks. It's like Wolfenstein needs to have chick protagonists.
Yeah, they're way trying to save that, saying
ridiculous, masculine, over the top.
It did horrible.
Why would you do that?
It did horrible. It was his daughters or whatever like that, but it did horrible. And it's like, dude, like give us Wolfenstein 3. Like keep using what works, man. If you trying to change things up at the top of the game.
Doom guy a Doom lady? Is that what we're getting next?
In movies right now, they were trying to replace James Bond with a female protagonist, and
Yeah.
It got turned down, the idea behind it, and right now, like the new James Bond movie isn't going into production, so it's.
You got to keep it. I mean, they want to make a female James Bond. Just make her own thing, like 006 or
Yeah,
something.
make a completely different series. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like
they just want to kind of like just cater off of the success off of something off of the established series and play it safe like that. But they're scared to create their own shit. They just want to say, oh well, let's just squeeze in here and we'll take over the success. And if you don't like it, you're sexist or some shit like that. You know, you don't like women. It's like, fuck out of here. We don't. Fuck, just get out of here with that bullshit. Tired of it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the point. Like, make something different. If you don't want to continue with that, just don't make a new one. It's as simple as that.
Simple as that, man. You're 100% right. But there is light down the tunnel. You know, there's a lot of people clapping back about this type of stuff, and it's showing. You know, thankfully. So hopefully we'll be able to see some better stuff in the future with a lot of these things. But going back to the game thing. I feel like with the PS5 and the PS6, whatever comes after it, the development cycle for a lot of AAA games is going to be a long time. I mean, they have to basically start now with certain games that kind of really are going to be powerful on those systems. But I think it's just important for these companies to make fun games. You know, it doesn't have to be AAA. Like if they could pull off something like Astrobot, that's what a lot of people want, especially on Sony's side. Like that's what's really worked for Nintendo, man. If they make fun games.
They're not being political or whatever. They're just doing whatever.
Yeah,
and like they
do the same stuff that worked in the 80s, worked in the 90s, worked in the noughties, worked in the 2010s, and they're still doing it because it still works. Yeah, and they're still selling. The Switch just passed the PS2 in total sales of consoles. It's now
in America,
best-selling console of all time in America. Yeah.
But Fixie, do you consider? I mean, I don't consider the Switch a console system because I just more of a hybrid. Like I feel like the Sony's is more of a, you know what I mean? Like it's more of a console system. So,
well, look, it is, but people pick these days. Do we go Nintendo? Do we go Xbox? Do we go Sony? You know, they've made it a console because it is a console, but then it's got the whole portable thing behind it. That's part of the reason it's sold so many. I would argue maybe the Switch Lites shouldn't count towards the sales because it's a portable handheld. But you know, the Switch does it all, and like I just went away for a week. I took my Switch. I played.
Dude, the Switch. I gotta admit, man, Switch collecting is pretty fun. I can't wait to show you guys a new game I got that I had no idea existed. Later in the pickups portion, if we have pickups still.
Oh, Switch collecting is insane, dude.
It is.
How many games on it now? It's like over 4,000, something like that, right?
Yeah. Region 3. It's so much amazing stuff on there.
Wii U had like what, 7?
Don't play amazing on it. But, you know, for every game that doesn't play amazing on there, there's an indie title that plays better on the Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Switch collecting is going to be one of the most expensive types of things you can collect forever. I really do. I think it's going to be wild. I think people are going to look back on the Switch and like overall, like when they start ranking like their favorite Nintendo systems lifetime, I think it's going to end up really high up there. Like,
yeah,
for sure. Yeah. I mean, you know, people will say
N64, etc. I was reading a comment this morning on Facebook. I shouldn't read Facebook because it's full of crap. But this dude was like, I don't get everyone's obsession with the Switch. Prices are about to tank on all the games. No, they're not.
No, they're not going to tank.
Incredible. These games are going to stay expensive. Like, you know, $50 for your Breath of the Wild, that'll be its price in 10, 15 years. Like, you won't see that going for $10, $15. Pokemon titles. Anything with Mario on the front cover that isn't like a Rabbids game, you know.
Yeah,
I think right now we're in actually like a lull as far as Nintendo interest because the Switch is so long in the tooth. There are a lot of people who are not collecting as heavily maybe as they were. I think when the new Switch announced, it's going to reinvigorate the whole community. You're going to see tons of videos, the insane amount of hype about it. And then I think you'll see people going nuts again, collecting that stuff. So
yeah, I agree with you, man. Nintendo has brought a certain amount of excitement. And when they announced the Switch 2, oh my God, because it's going to be backwards compatible. I mean, that's going to like blow up the internet. This console cycle for me, it just hasn't really like pulled me in. Like, there's no reason why I could tell everybody, hey, you got to get the PS5. You know what I mean? I got to get an Xbox Series X. You know, it's been a pretty disappointing generation for me. And I thought about other things like, hey, maybe I'm getting older and I just don't look at games the same way. No, I look at them the same way. It's just a lot of these games suck and they're not really worth they're just not worth it anymore. But Nintendo, man, they have really brought a lot of joy, and collecting for the Switch has been so much fun. And I actually got a game recently that hasn't arrived yet, but it's only available on Switch, and it's like this compilation of beat 'em ups. I forgot what it's called. I have to look it up, but it's like a cool little collection, and it's only on the Switch. It's not going on anything else. Putting games on the Switch, I understand why companies do it. You know, when the game is like it's not, the Switch is not as powerful, because people will buy the Switch version because they want that portability and they want it as a console. So it's just like that's the reason. That's why a lot of companies will downgrade a game. Like for instance, World War Z, man, fantastic 3D zombie or third person zombie game, hella fun. And the Switch, they made a Switch version, which I was shocked about, but they made it work. I mean, it's downgraded, but that game is freaking awesome. And playing it on the go online with friends, you know, that's lovely. You know, to have that kind of like access or whatever like that. So Switch, I'm really excited to see how the Switch 2, how powerful it will be. And yeah, they need to announce it, man, because I'm getting tired of we're going on 8 years for the regular Switch.
Yeah. So I mean, it's long in the tooth. It's people are over it. They're just over it. I've reached the point too. I've been buying way less Switch games because we've reached a point where the Switch doesn't really play the new games that great. And so I almost always have been opting for the PS5 version lately, or the PS4 for that matter, because I can play PS4 games on my PS5. You know, and if I get a Pro, it does some sort of graphic resolution upscaling or some crap if I ever get one. So I don't know. I haven't been really buying much for the Switch, but once the new Switch comes out, it'll be the opposite. I'll be cutting back on PlayStation for a while, and you'll see me buying a lot more Switch stuff. Hell yeah!
Luckily for us, man, PlayStation is kind of like dwindling down with a lot of the physicals, so we can kind of relax on a lot of stuff. You know, there's a couple of limited run releases that just got announced recently. I think one of them was called I can't remember, some 2D platform game, but those are going to be probably the last PS4 games I look into, because I am kind of moving on to PS5 stuff. But
but don't that like you know, if a PS5 game comes out right now, you don't feel the obligation to go buy it right away like you do a late release PS4 game, because some of these games are hard to get. That Marvel vs. Capcom collection in Australia, one sold this week for $190. That game came out a month ago, man. That's double its price, and it's because it's so hard to get already. It's only been out for a month. You already can't get it. Crazy.
Yeah, that is
going back on the Switch though. I've hasn't been announced yet, but I've read rumors that the Switch 2 will only be as powerful as like a PS4.
That's fine. The PS4 is pretty powerful, you know, even by console standards today. But oh wow, I just looked at another limited run release that's happening. But that's totally fine, because you got if the system is too powerful, guys, you got to think about the battery life for it too. You know, a lot of games not going to be exactly. So they got to make sure it's optimized to like play certain games, not burn out the battery too fast or whatever like that. So they got to really look into a lot of that stuff too.
Yeah. I'm not going to buy it if it's like the Steam Deck when it first came out. You know, it's great, but it's lasts an hour and then you got to charge it. Well, that defeats the purpose of having a portable device.
So right now, too, talking about the PS4, going back to that, we've reached a point now where, like, if you really want to get PS4 versions, you have to look regionally to find out if there's one. So now it'll be like only PAL will get the PS4, only Asia will get only Japan will get a PS4 release for that game. And I do think are going to be pretty valuable PS4 games down the line. Those super late releases that also only got released in certain regions. Yeah. Like, I don't know if I ever mentioned on the show. One of our guests told me, point me in the right direction, but that Mickey.
You did speak about this on the show. It only got a German or Australian release.
The PS4 copy only got released in Germany. That's it. Just the UK version. There's no like PAL, not UK. What is it? USK? I can't remember. Is that they call it, the USK label?
Yeah.
But that's the only place they got released. So that will be very valuable because it's just super late release. But like you made it a point too that there's not going to be a lot of like full set PS4 collectors. It's not really going to be much of a thing. It's just such an insurmountable task. So I don't know how valuable these games will be compared to other sets.
And then
those are more
if there's a
obscene.
PS5 version, the average person's just going to buy that. Like I'm even at the point now where if a game like that comes out in Germany only, and it's a PS4 game, but there's a cheap PS4 game at 5 version at my local shop, I'm just going to buy that. I'm not going to have I need to get this. If it was, okay, let's say if it was a PS3 game, for example, I'd have to get that because there's only, 1,200 PS3 games and it's going to, be impossible to get. Completely not thinking about that. I couldn't name you one person going for a full worldwide PS4 set anymore. I think I know a couple of people still working on the American full set, but in terms of like a full worldwide PS4 set, everyone who was going for it has given up at this point. Like,
it's too much, man. I mean, oh gosh, I couldn't imagine trying to do that, man. Like an American set is one thing, but going for a worldwide one for a system.
There are people doing that for the Switch, and there's some crazy Switch collections out there.
Oh my god!
I mean, worldwide though, even ones without English. That's wild to me. I stopped. That's where I drew the line with my PSVR collection. It's like I got everything that has English. I'm not buying the 4 Japanese games that have no English. That I'm like, what am I gonna do with these? No, I'm not. It'd be cool to have, I guess, for the sake of having, but nah. I had to draw the line of reasonableness somewhere.
But you can't blame these people trying to do it because in the past, it was doable for the PS1, 2, 3, the PSP, the Vita. Like that was doable to get every single game that ever got released through these systems. I mean, crazy, but it was doable. Now it's just, insane. If you look at just limited run games, you're spending like almost $100,000 to own every PS4 game. Like that's absolutely mental. To own 700 games that no one's ever heard of and a couple hundred cool games that are really worth owning. Like, it's mental.
Yeah, the game I was talking about earlier, what I wanted to talk about earlier that's being released on the PS4 and Xbox One is Dancer Paladin. It came out on the Switch a few years ago from Limited Run. They announced the PS4 version. I'm like, damn, really? That's the system I would have rather had it on in the beginning. I wish they would release it on both at the same time. That would have been nice. But you just never know what's going to happen.
Happening because that got a retail release, right? It wasn't a low print, was it?
No, I don't think it had a retail release. I mean, it was you could pre-order it for like a month.
I have it on Switch. I just can't remember where I got it.
Yeah, you could pre-order it for on limited runs, like for a month or whatever like that until they close the pre-orders. But it wasn't really limited, I don't believe. No. But I could be wrong about that. It's hard to really keep up with a lot of limited run stuff since they got bought out by Embracer Group. So it's like, man, they're just putting out so much stuff.
It's so weird how years later it's happening. I showed you that Slipstream game. I was like, hey, I remember watching you and Jason play this 2 years ago. And I remember back then being like, this game of physical? I love Outrun. Shit, this looks great. And then I didn't, and I forgot all about it. And then lo and behold, two years later, they're like,
2 years later,
physical's coming out. And I'm like, what?
No, it should not take that long for a physical game. Especially like that, because Slipstream was made by one guy, and I remember when they were looking for developers to make a physical for it, and I was hoping they would go with somebody else besides Limited Run, just because I want it to be more a widespread release or whatever like that, easy where you can find it in retail stores. But Limited Run, I guess, gives the best deals, so a lot of these guys will go with them. What I mean?
But in terms of Limited Run today as well, another thing they're doing, which I got nothing against, but they previously said they'll never do this, is games are getting reprinted. Like VGP just announced a limited run reprint of Sengen Karuga Reflections. Okay, I didn't know you guys were reprinting games now, but sweet.
they want money, man. This is how it is. These companies, it's just everything they stood for in the beginning gets thrown out the window when that money comes in. You know what I mean? It's just it's crazy. We already
might as well be a different brand at this point.
Yeah, they might as well call it something else because they're not really too limited anymore. The open
second round games.
Yeah, that'd be more of a good title for it or whatever like that. But it's pretty crazy. And And I think we talked about, me and Joe talked about this, and I want to bring it up to you too, Fixie. How do you feel about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth remake for PS5 getting reprinted?
Oh, I think it's great because I was looking to pick it up, but then I seen the price. I'm like, well, there's no point because I already own it on PS4. It's just the DLC. I'm not going to replay it anyway.
Right.
The Australian version's ridiculous, but now it's reprinted. It'll either one, I'll get that version, or two, it'll bring down the price over here because people will buy that and eventually it'll just bring the price down, which I think that's great, you know.
Yeah, I agree with you. AAA games, I feel like should have a lot of copies out there. But here's where it gets crazy with the limited printed games when they're doing reprints of those. Like one of those games is kind of like Onimusha. That was a GameStop exclusive here in America. And they sold it enough to generate interest in the series and try to see if there was worth making a sequel. And now, as soon as that announcement happens of the new game coming out, Video Games Plus, they announced, hey, we're doing some reprints. Don't buy online, buy here. They're like, wow, dude, like, what the heck is going on? Nobody had interest in that game except for old school people who played it. But now, all of a sudden, there's a new one coming out. Everybody's trying to resell it for high amounts of money. And then, it's just like, what the heck, man? But
I think you got to look at it from a different perspective. If this was, say, 2010, there was no such thing as a limited game. Like, people didn't talk about the number of games they produced. The idea was to sell as many copies as possible. If the game only sold 1,000 copies, it was because it was a shit game. And if suddenly there was demand for it, that was great, But since, Limited Run came along and all these other companies, that whole like, oh, this is a low print game, it must be worth money, that they sort of like became these things, and scalpers got involved and investors got involved, and people suddenly weren't buying them for the games, they were buying them because they thought they could make money.
Yeah.
It's going back to the whole like, this is more about the games than the value of the games. If it's a good game, it'll get reprinted because people want to play it and want to own it. It's not just people are making money, so let's make more money, and I love that because it's all about the gamers.
It's all about capitalism. That's all it is. It's just how it's supposed to work. I don't understand why people like get mad that people want to make money, and like it's just how it is. I don't. If there's a demand and people will buy it, people will make it, and that's just reality. Like it's just the way it is. It's like being mad at. People get mad at like freaking OnlyFans or something. I'm like, it is what it is, boys. Like there's a demand for it. People are paying for it. You can get mad about it all you want. The market's there. It is what it is. You don't have to buy it. You don't have to get upset about it. You don't have to participate. But I don't see the point in getting mad about it, And having a PS5 game reprinted, that's a major release, like a Final Fantasy game. That's pretty normal, like you said. That doesn't seem like too much of a shocker to me. That was never promised as some rare limited run thing or whatever. That's just a regular game.
Like we said, Square Enix reprint everything. They eventually did the Pixel Remaster Collection. If you're out there and you just want to make money and you're trying to make money on Square Enix titles, get rid of it ASAP because they'll reprint it. They still sell PS1 games, brand new.
Well, here's the thing, guys. So when it comes to reprints, I think it would be better they do a reprint and have it like a change in the cover, a little bit of art change, right?
That would be cool.
That'd be awesome. I think that would be like that would settle everything. But for it to be exactly to look the same, that gets a lot of people mad. Like even going back to the PS1 and PS2 era, the reprints were greatest hits or whatever like that. You know what I mean? Even though they were ugly as hell, and the disc art would change a little bit. Like they would go cheaper in the greatest hits, especially for PS1. Like I remember I got Resident Evil 3 greatest hits version, had that ugly green thing on the side, and then the disc was black and white instead of like being in like in color or like the regular one was. But that difference means a lot. So I think some kind of cover difference or whatever like that, that'd be kind of cool, right?
I will add to that, Reggie, that the greatest hits also meant that it sold like 500,000 or 1 million.
That's true. So yeah, sold well. At least 1 million or 1 million copies, I would say, right? It's the greatest hits. Yeah.
Yeah, over here we had Essentials meant 500,000, Platinum meant 1 million sales.
Snap.
Okay. Pretty cool.
Yeah, and so how like comic books do this a lot. They'll do like cover variants. They'll do like cover A, cover B, cover C, that type of crap. and people will want to collect multiple different versions of the same comic because of the different cover artwork. And I think there's a market for that for video games as well. So like if they released Final Fantasy VII, Intergrade remake, whatever, and with the regular cover, and then they did the reprint and they made that cover art like really cool looking, like or something that hits me right in the feels, like old school, makes it look like Final Fantasy VII, PS1, whatever.
Dip.
They do something like that. I'll probably double dip.
Oh.
So not only are they going to satisfy the people that want to get the game cheap to play it, but there'll be collectors like people, weirdos like me who are like actually like, oh, I want to have that version in my collection. Especially if you have a full, like you're really into JRPGs and you have like every Final Fantasy game that's ever come out on the system, you'll want it for your Final Fantasy. Like like the subset collectings. And so I'm like, oh, another piece for the Final Fantasy set. Like, I don't know. It would be smart to do that. I think that's a good idea, and it's a reasonable approach.
I feel like the reason we don't see that is because, these big companies aren't looking at us collectors. They're just looking at the big picture, and the printing presses have already got these things on their computers ready to go. They'll have to rechange the artwork, get someone to redesign it, blah, blah, blah. So it's easy for them to go, want to reprint, just press the button and get, 1,000 more. Sorted out that way. So it's behind we don't care, we just want to make money, it's easier, blah 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 type of attitude.
Yeah.
So what we need is more companies, which is why I did want to mention this, that Rocket Games, that's Doug's new company. Today's their last day you can order Croc. If you want to.
Is it the last day for the collector's edition or just in general?
For the standard or collector's edition, physical.
Okay.
It's the last day. They will continue to sell the digital, I guess they said. So there's a digital collector's edition as well, which I'm not sure that what the maybe they said, so it's this one right here. Digital version or whatever. Probably everything but the game. So that's today if you wanted to get a copy of it. And then they also reopened orders for Volgar 2, which had already closed, and those are open until January 2nd if you wanted to get Volgar 2. So I just want to mention that if you wanted to, because they're a new company and I wouldn't mind them succeeding. I think limited run games needs competition.
I feel like
I don't want them to be the only company printing physical games in the future. I don't want that.
Oh no, it's just a lot of these companies that are going to win against them, they kind of like drop the ball, you know what I mean? Like they're not like as effective as they are,
Yeah.
And there's so many of them. I mean, there's been a couple that have failed too. I can't think of their names right now, but I thought Strictly Limited would be a good like competition for them, but with what happened to them
for a while.
They were for a while.
It's almost like there's not enough money in it. I feel like it needs to be a big company that's already established, like Square Enix or Atlas, who start competing. Because if they do it, we know they've got the money to finish these products before they sell it to us, and they have the stock in hand. That's the trouble with like first press games or Strictly Limited. I'm sure initially the intentions were good, but when they run out of money and they had to make more orders to pay for the stock to get printed to send out the old orders, that's when they're in a serious problem.
Yeah, I agree, man.
What we're in right now.
Yeah, you're
So I
right.
think, Strictly Limited is their partnership with NN Games was crazy, because like they would release these versions of the games and then it would take them forever to come out, and then they would come out at retail before their versions came out, and like it made no sense. Like they were, you know what I mean? Like their versions were the same game, but like with one extra version or something. And
yeah, extra game, but it was like it was annoying for a lot
to
of
wait
people.
an extra 2 years to get yours.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Like I
And it
still
was
haven't
more
gotten my raised chronology, I don't think, from them still. And it's like I could buy that for $5 if I wanted to. It's stupid. But it looks like what they did is they were like distancing themselves from that. So I don't know if you saw this, but the NN Games newest game isn't going through Strictly Limited. It's direct order through their website.
What is it called?
X Out Resurfaced. Basically it's like a shmup. It looks cool. It's a remaster of a Commodore 64 and Amiga. It came out on the C64 and the Amiga.
Wait,
back in the
X.
day. Yeah, X out or whatever.
Yeah, I think I have X Part 2 on the PS1, and then the X. Yeah, wow, dude, that's crazy. They're doing. I think it's the same game. Is it a horizontal shoot 'em up?
It is. It's not
Yeah.
vertical. It's a
Yeah.
side scroller. Yeah, looks
Yep.
cool. Like I definitely want to get it, but it's like normally this would have been a strictly limited release, but it's not. Like doing it directly through their website. So if you are interested, there's 999 copies. You can get it on nngames.com if you want it, and then it's coming out in a retail release as well. So you will be able to get a standard edition as well.
Yeah, I'll get it on Amazon if they put it on their website there. I'm not.
Yeah, I don't need the collector's edition personally. So
Too many of those collector's edition. They be hooking people with that because the collector's edition is the one that takes the longest to get. And,
I was about to say, yeah, you said later on we'll get a retail version. Nah, that'll be first. You can order that now, but you'll get a retail version first, for sure.
Exactly, because I just don't feel like waiting, man. Like it's just like, what the heck?
yeah, and then strictly limited, they just like signed a bunch of different games that didn't sell well, and they got stuck with like all these orders for collector's editions where people probably ordered like 100 of them. And that's not enough. You know what I mean? It's like they're screwed. So I don't know. I really hope they get their shit together and they get
because their pre-orders are still like at 90% for a lot of the IREM games Volume 2 and 3. Like no one's like really buying it, man. Like it's like
that's not good. That's at the point where you almost have to cancel it and say refund everyone.
And that's why what Joe was saying in the last stream, he's scared the PS4 version might get canceled. Maybe the PS4 collectors will get canceled, but not the regular one. Because I feel like it's just not. Well, I don't. Who knows, man? I don't. I shouldn't even say anything, dude, because I don't want to make jinx it. But we might have to go to Play Asia route, Joe, if we don't hear anything soon.
Well, that's what's going to piss me off is that. Watch what'll happen is I'll wait and wait and wait and wait. They'll cancel at the last minute, and then I'll try to go get the Play Asia versions. They'll be sold out. They'll be on eBay for $100 a piece. I'm fucking furious.
Yeah.
They just have to reprint Iron Meat again for the Switch because clearly that's a moneymaker for them.
Fine with me. Whatever. Sell 1,000 copies. Print it 4 or 5 times. Doesn't bother me as long as it makes them some money and they send me my games. We're good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it gets reprinted again. It's sold out in like 10 minutes.
But does this all this stuff that's going on, Joe? Does it make you just want to stop doing pre-orders for a lot of stuff? It's like man, it's just I'm just tired of it. Like
I pre-order way less. Especially from limited run, I'm like, especially with the way VGP works, I don't sweat it at all.
I've stopped.
I'm just like, I've
100% stopped. And I read this week that VGP have got Clock Tower coming in soon. That was the one game that I'm like, I'm not buying it because I don't want to buy it for a limited run anymore. I'll just buy it for a video game.
Wait, we're talking Clock Tower Rewind?
Yeah, they're getting Clock Tower soon.
So I could just buy the PS4 version from them. This is why I'm glad I waited. I didn't pre-order. I almost pre-ordered Figsy. I was like, no, man, because I want to wait till the game is like almost here. And now this is that moment. I could get the PS4 version because the PS4 version is one everybody's trying to sell for a high amount of money or whatever like that.
It might sell out quick, but you'll be able to get it.
Yeah, I'll have a chance. I'll have a chance to get it. And think about them; they'll have it ready to go like after you buy it, pretty much. So that's what I like about Video Games Plus. They'll have it ready in stock, and boom, they sell it.
And you get it in a box. If you bought it through limited run, you got to pay for the box, or you got to buy a bunch of shit.
Insanity. The risk of your stuff getting damaged, like limited run, like they cut every quarter they can to save a buck. You know what I mean? Like that's why, like dealing with them, if something got damaged, I wouldn't want to go through the process of having to return it to them or whatever like that because it's just like it's just annoying and it's horrible.
No, I wouldn't. I'd probably sell it online and buy a different copy. It's honestly easier. Yeah,
it would just save you your nerves and everything. But yeah, man, I've stopped doing this for years. I did pre-order one game from them, which was Azure Striker Gunvolt Part 3, because that came out of nowhere. I always wanted the English PS3 version, so that was kind of cool. And it's almost here, thankfully. We'll be here in March sometime. But it's rare that I actually pre-order a game anymore, and I'm totally fine with that. I've kind of been going online and like waiting for games to get like certain games they announce as physicals, and I look at the gameplay, and if it's a good game, I'll buy it digital because usually around that time it'll be on sale. Like they announced this game called Homebody. It's like a survival horror game made by the Game Grumps. Yeah, Limited Run selling their copies for like $40-$50. And then I looked on the eShop, it's going for $3. And then I looked at PSN recently, it's going for $4. So I bought it. And I'm halfway through the game, like, oh man, I don't have to wait for this game to come out like next year. I'm playing it now and enjoying it. Well, I enjoyed it to a certain point until it pissed me off because there's too many damn puzzles in that game. It's like, damn, it's trying to slow you up. But it's a solid game though, definitely. But do I need it as a physical? Not really. You know what I mean? I'm just kind of over it, man. I have a hell of a collection, dude.
That's where I'm at now. It's like I'm so less motivated. I'm out of space. It's like,
yeah,
hell do I even care?
There's other stuff we could look into as far as like collecting now, because like the video games is just not what it was before, unless you're collecting retro stuff. I would say up to the PS3 era, or PS4, of course, too, even though it's still going somewhat. But you know, it's just I'm just kind of done with all these pre-orders because everybody wants you to pre-order everything. They want to play it safe 100% because I remember when GameStop, you could just walk in that store and they had all the games ready to go. But I guess over time they feel like they lost too much money doing it that way, which they've doing it that way for years. But you have to pre-order everything. And here's the funny thing is, man, I go into a GameStop and I say, hey, do you have this game? I just saw this game came out. Did you pre-order, sir? Well, no, I just found out a game. Oh, you should have pre-ordered. Like, wow. Then I find something I want in the store. Then they ask me, hey, would you like to sign up to our GameStop membership? All these benefits. I was like,
you like scratch protection on that?
Yeah, I'm like, dude, you guys just freaking like made me feel bad because I missed out on a pre-order, and then you want me to sign up for this? Like what the hell? Like, last place I want to come back to again. Like after you. Would you like
it because you spent $20 today? You get to choose between a beach towel or a hat.
So video game stores do get screwed though on the new games. I do know that. So like when they buy a game for $60, like a brand new $60 game, they're paying like $50 sometimes.
Yeah.
And if they don't sell them, they end up eating it. Like I was watching Retro Rich channel, and he was saying like he's like so sick of buying new games for that reason.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. He's like, I bought 5 of these. He shows Persona 5 Strikers or whatever, tag the one. I'm like, oh
Really?
man, that's just been like on sale for $4.99 for like the last month. It's been on Black Friday deals for like $1 on VG.
They got so many of them because that's one of their best sellers. That might as well be like almost a greatest hits in a way.
Yeah, and he looked it up and he's like, it's selling like, price charting. It's like $10 for this game, and he paid like $50 to his copies. So
never pay for a new game unless you're gonna play it immediately. Like you're that excited to play it, cool. Like for me, Horizon Forbidden West, I bought that when it first came out, played the hell out of it, enjoyed it. But like
Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth,
Final Fantasy Rebirth is another one as well.
I wanted to play that shit because I've been waiting to play that since I finished. I loved Remake Intergrade. Like,
yeah,
I couldn't believe how much I liked that game. I was surprised because I went into it like, oh, I like the OG one. I don't want to turn.
Do you think it's gonna be overwhelming? Do you think it's gonna be overwhelming for people who wait for the third one to come out and then try to play it all 3 together?
Oh yeah, I think they have no idea.
They have no idea. That's what I was telling Joe immediately.
No idea.
He's like, Brad, I don't want to play it to all 3 of the games. They're like, dude, these games are massive. They're expanded.
That's gonna be like a year of your life.
100%, dude. Because it's so. That game is like a live world, man. The stuff they put into that game, the voice acting, how everything plays out, the different scenarios, dude. I mean, I fell in love with that game. Like, you beat the game already, right?
Mm-hmm.
In both of them. Yeah, there was a certain scenes in that game that really just took me away. Like the whole expansion of that one girl. Her name was Jessie from the first game for the first part, and then in the second part when they gave her a tribute, when Cloud looked at her picture on the wall. I thought that was beautiful, man, how it played out. And he remembered her and they went back to her. It's like stuff like that is amazing, dude. Like seriously.
I haven't started the second one yet, but I'm looking forward to a period where I'm like, I want to play something and that's there. Like that's sitting there waiting for me. But I'm having that experience right now with Black Myth Wukong. I played full price for that. And if you want to get that game, it's already sold out. Digital's $110 in Australia.
This was $100, huh?
$109 for my physical copy. But after I finish it, I'm going to have this weird. Should I sell it now and try and rebuy it later, or
I would. If you beat it fast, and it's still worth money, and you don't plan on playing it for a little bit, you're gonna play something else, sell it, and recoup the money you paid into it, or some of it.
I have one complaint, and this isn't a complaint on the game; it's sort of a complaint on how trophies work. So I went into it and I wanted to play it blind, so I'm avoiding any spoilers, blah blah blah. But I also want to get all the trophies. So I finished a certain chapter and then I looked up the trophies and I found out I've missed like a bunch of the trophies. I got to replay the game.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you gotta go through it again.
I spoiled it for myself in the first place, but I probably will replay it because I'm enjoying it that much.
Yeah,
I will add another thing. Like, I don't think it's as good as any of the Dark Souls games. Like, it's amazing, but there's a lot of things in the game that annoy me that Dark Souls won't do. For example, and you will be able to relate this to a lot of RPGs. There's certain sections that will have invisible walls, so you can't fall off the cliff because there's an invisible wall. But suddenly the next section has no invisible wall and you fall off the cliff. It's like, well, you just taught me in my brain that the game mechanics in this game have got walls here that you can't see. And then suddenly you get to this section and there's no wall. So, like, what is it? Where in Dark Souls, it's just everywhere you can fall off a cliff and die. You know, so you go in expecting that every single time. And I'm like, oh, I don't, I don't like that. But
I hear you on that. I quick question for you guys. So a thing happened to me last night, which was annoying as hell. But we all know how PlayStation Classics have been released on the PS5. They took it off the Plus so you could buy like Dino Crisis and Resident Evil and a couple other games. Mm-hmm. Well, I noticed that I didn't have Dino Crisis on there, so I said I would like to play Dino Crisis on my PS5. Maybe do a live stream playing it. That'd be kind of fun. Mm-hmm. But it was $10, right? So I was like, man, $10. I thought this was $5.99. So I went back to the PS3. And I went to the store. It's $5.99 on there. So I had to go through this. Yeah, I had to go through this insane process, Fixie, where I had to like add money to my wallet, buy it on the PS3, and then it was available on all three systems, which was great. But if you buy it on PS4, PS5, which is more expensive, it wouldn't be available on PS3. So that's the thing. That's why I did it that way. I was trying to get the most out of my money and pay cheaper, which ended up working.
Inflation right there.
But here's the thing, though. The PS3 sign-in is so weird, man, because you haven't signed into your PS3 for a while. They'll make you sign in via your phone. You have to go online and do all this. It's I don't know why they did that. I mean, maybe for hacking purpose. I don't know, but it's so annoying. But
no, that's the sign in for everything now. Like I had to sign in my PS5 the other day, and I had to do it through the phone. They changed the app a few years ago, and the new way of signing in the app uses like a 2-buddy system. So, you know, if someone hacks your phone or your console, they have to have the other device to be able to get in.
Right, and it's safer that way, but I just don't want to go through like what I had to go through with my PS3. You know, I guess it's my fault because my email for my PS3 is not even an existing email, so I needed to change that into a one that I could use. It's like lost. I had to go through that process of trying to switch it out, but it took me like an hour to do everything, and I just to save a couple of bucks, but it was worth it because I saved a couple of bucks and I got games on 3 platforms. Well, actually, I could play on my Vita too, so 4 platforms. Yep. That's even better. But it was just so annoying that they did that process. But if it's to protect us, I get it. But I just got to.
Well, you just brought up though is a big problem. I know plenty of mates of mine who, when they log into their console, they use a fake email, fake address, blah blah blah. They just want to start playing the game.
Exactly.
If you start buying things on that and you forget those passwords, you've just lost all your games, you know.
Yeah, it's annoying, man. But thankfully, I got through it. Fixie, I don't know if you ever played Dino Crisis before.
No, I never played it, and it's I want it physically, so it's really expensive to get. So
how much is it? Man, I wish I would have known you a couple of years ago because I had the PAL version of that game, and I set on the PAL version of part 1 and 2 for like a couple of years because it got sent to me a long time ago. But it was just more of a novelty having it, and yeah, I would have hooked you up, man, because I did not have no reason to have those versions of the game besides the cover art. But it's a really good survival horror game, and I tried to play it a little bit last night, to get that feeling of when I first got it, which happened. It was really nice. But it's definitely one of the true survival horror games that a lot of people haven't played because Dino Crisis is made by the original creator of Resident Evil. And man, the terror of being torn apart by a dinosaur is insane. Besides being torn apart by a freaking zombie, right? Like being torn apart by those reptiles. And they're smart too. They'll stalk you through rooms if you're not careful, like how you play the game. So it's really interesting game and a lot of fun. Great story, multiple endings. Yeah, just an overall great series. You played it too, right, Joe?
Mm-hmm. I haven't played part 2, but I played 1.
Oh my god, part 2 was amazing as well. It plays a bit different.
It's on the
Dude,
list, right?
if you put part 2 in and start playing it, you'll probably finish the game. That's how it is. You'll blow through it, man. Yeah, you'll blow because the story in that game.
Oh, do you know what did you see that thing I posted in the chat about the FPGA PS1 that guy's making?
No, I didn't see that. Are you serious?
Yeah, so there's a Taki Udon, I think his name is, on Twitter there, on the Twitter. on X posted that
Let me look at your post on there.
Yeah, he is. They're working on finalizing their PlayStation 1 FPGA system. They're looking at $225 MSRP for it, and if it's basically like an analog duo but a PS1.
All
So
right.
that would mean it's region free, and so I'm getting 100%.
100%. Yeah.
100%. And this guy, he's legit. He's the one who came out with the Mr. Pi mod, who's like basically, are you familiar with what a Mister is? It's like that.
Yeah. Jason did a video on it a couple of years ago.
They're freaking awesome. Like, I really want one, but they're kind of pricey. They're like $500 to get into it. Unless you want to build it yourself. If you want to build it yourself,
if you have the time for that.
yeah. But I'm just gonna. I would want a pre-made one. So like $500. So he came out with a new, like, cheaper version of it. It's like 200 something bucks to get a Mister set up now. And so I'm thinking about picking one of those up. But he also did announce that he's working on that. And if that happens and that comes out and it's, fully region free FPGA, it's got built-in upscaling.
It's going to open you up
4K or something like that. Oh, I'll be
region free.
I'll be playing PS1 games. That's all.
The region free is going to like really get you, man, because once you're able to play a lot of these games, like when I got the test system PS2, and it was region free, it really opened me up to a lot of PS1 games and PS2 games, and that probably was one of the most mind-blowing like experiences I had with those systems. Like playing all these games like years later that I didn't even know about. Like there's one game called Gun Gauge. You guys heard of that one on PS1?
Which one?
It's a Gun Gauge. It's a running gun 3D shooter game. Like think of Metal Slug was like in 3D, but it's so freaking cool. I'll send you a picture of it so you can check it out. But finding out about that game was freaking amazing, and it was cheap. It was going for like $14 back then. But of course, when people catch on to the games you like, everybody wants it, and then it goes up in price. But it's going to open you up when you get that system to a lot of games that you probably never even heard of, man. Like,
well, I've already been buying Japanese shmups here and there, but they're very expensive. But I've been like doing it as like a treat. Like I'll buy one every like couple months or so. But yeah, I'm gonna have to get on that and buy some more games that I want, because
there's plenty of American games I would have loved to play, but I just never bothered collecting them because it's like, well, I collected this system, it's region free. I have to, go and buy another system, go and buy the other plugs, because the plugs don't work either. You need adapters and suddenly if there's DLC involved, that won't work.
Oh yeah, I know, right? Like that's annoying that the DLC is like region locked and everything.
But my point is that I'll probably be playing some Dino Crisis too. I'll probably run through.
You'll go through it, bro.
I have quite a few PS1 games that I haven't actually played that I've been meaning to.
Dino Crisis 2 has such a awesome ending, dude, and it's still talked about to this day of how what happened in that game. And that's why I want you to play it, because Dino Crisis 2 kind of changes things up from how the first game was, where you had limited weapons. Dino Crisis 2 gives you all the weapons, and it's freaking amazing. Like it goes back and forth between which is a better game, but they're both great games on their own merits. But yeah, if you put Dino Crisis 2 in and you start playing it, you're gonna finish it, dude. Like there's no doubt about it.
And then there was a 3, right, on Xbox, right?
Yeah, 3. The problem with 3 was so the original 3 was going to be an Xbox exclusive, and it was going to take place as a true sequel to part 2. It ended up being, because of the 9/11 attacks, what happened in the cities and buildings, which was Dino Crisis 3 was going to take place. They felt that was too much.
Wait a minute. Are you saying dinosaurs took down the World Trade Center? I do it.
Well, in the way the pictures look in the game, you could maybe argue that way it looked and everything like that. But
those were pterodactyls and 2 because of that. So,
yeah, Capcom was scared. They were so scared to release it how they wanted. So they changed the game up to something else, and it ended up being a different game, I would say. It just didn't.
His marketing really got messed with? Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers. God damn, is that some bad timing? One
ring to rule them all.
That came out, like that movie was coming out like right after that happened. I'm pretty sure right around then. I think it was after.
It still came out, so
Spider-Man had to change all its ads too.
Yeah,
Spider-Man had a bunch of ads with the Twin Towers, and had to take them all.
Metal Gear Solid 2 was another one. And the documentary of Metal Gear Solid 2, like the Twin Towers are still in it. In that, I think I still have this too. But yeah, it's in it. And of course, in the new game, they just took it out, man. That was a sensitive time for video games, man. like for almost everything. You know, I remember you couldn't play that song "The Bodies Hit the Floor" on the radio because of the whole thing that happened with the towers and everything like that. Like it was crazy.
Yeah, that was back when. Oh man, the propaganda was so different back then. I tried.
Yeah, it was.
It was all America, America, rah rah rah. Not flags everywhere. We were all united. It was all like, they wanted everybody united because they wanted to go blow up all the countries all around the world, and they didn't want us to say anything about it. And then now it's all like, America sucks. It's like crazy. Like I'm like, what the hell, man? What happened? People are freaking. I don't know.
I was like 7 or 8 when it happened, so it's like my Spyro games didn't change or anything.
Like oh man, if you want to have a good time, rewatch the show 24.
Oh my God, 24, so good, man.
You watched the show 24, and it's like it is a time capsule. You were like, oh my God, I remember this. It's like a different world, man, we lived in back then.
Brother, you could not. 24 was so crazy, dude. Like you could not. You never felt safe watching the episode, man. Like you feel a little bit of relief. Okay, they got out of this situation good. Nope, something else goes down. Like, dude, are you serious, dude?
His family got kidnapped like 3 times in one day.
Yeah, dude. All this happened in 24 hours. Like this is action packed. Like it's insane.
After a while, I'd be like, just stay in this room and don't leave. Fuck. God, lock him in a prison cell. I just need to. I gotta save the president. Will you just cut it out? Oh man,
I send you a picture of Gun Gauge so you guys could take a look at it. Fixie, if you have the means,
yeah, I just put it up. I've seen it before, but not in the jobs.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, dude. When I back in 2015, 16. I think that game, I bought that game. I still have my eBay receipt. I could go back and look at it, but that game was like $14. And I was just buying all these games that just never came to America. They were only released in PAL or in Japan. There's a lot of them. And dude, I'm talking about my paycheck went to all that. And this is while I was in school too. I was tearing it up. Man, I got a great tax return for like 2 years. And all that went to like all these rare games. And still sitting on them now, thankfully. But I couldn't imagine trying to get a lot of them now. Even it's just
that's
there
why
were so many I wanted.
I buy like one every few months, but it's not that bad though, because AAA games and new games are getting so freaking expensive.
Right?
They wanted $80 for that game, brand new, and I'm like, no offense, Alan, but if I'm spending $80, I must spend $100 and get a shmup from Japan that I've wanted for like 10 years. You know what I'm saying? I'll go get Dodonpachi for $90. Get out of here with that.
Yeah. Well, the other problem with today is the shipping's more expensive.
That hurts a lot.
I could buy a game from Europe shipped for like $15. Today, the shipping's $15 at least.
Crazy.
It's probably 20. So it's put the prices up significantly. I wanted to ask, it's Christmas time. Have you guys been playing anything different?
Yeah, so speaking of Final Fantasy and stuff, I've been playing that new game Fantasian Neo Dimension or whatever, which is made by the original creators of Final Fantasy VII, and I believe it's also the same guy who did the music. And I gotta say, like, it does really feel like an old school Final Fantasy game, the way it controls, and the music especially gives me those feels big time. It hits me right in the feels. Fantastic so far. Really enjoying it, actually.
Nice.
It's kind of neat how they made the game. They like filmed models for all the backgrounds, like actual model sets, and they took pictures of it and everything, and then they just digitized the characters and put them in there.
That's cool. I like that.
It looks pretty amazing. It's not always the best looking, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. And if you're looking for like a good throwback experience, like this is pretty much as authentic as it's going to get. So I enjoy it quite a bit. Yeah.
What game was it again?
Fantasian Neo Dimension. The new.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've heard that the PS5 copy has sold out a few times, so it might be hard to get. Might be one of those ones that doesn't get reprinted, but we'll see. Don't take my advice, guys. Who knows?
For the holidays, Fixie, I've been kind of like, oh man, there's no real main game I've been playing ever since I beat Ease. I'm just trying to like figure out what I want to play next. That's like kind of like will get me back into like a good flow of some games. Because when you beat an RPG, sometimes you kind of like need a break because you put so much time into it. Like East allegedly takes around 20 hours to beat. I put around 40 hours into it. So, and I didn't even do everything doing that. So thankfully it has New Game Plus, but then the game's getting re-released with more stories. So maybe I should just take a break from it, But I actually really want to play Final Fantasy Rebirth again. I only played through it once, so I want to go through it again and do the extras because I haven't even been to Yuffie's town in that game, which is a massive side story. So I'm like, dude, what the heck? So I got there's a lot I got to do in that game. So hopefully I'll be able to do that sometime early next year.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to diving in for the first time. I mentioned I was playing Black Myth Wukong, which is amazing. I think there's 6 chapters. I'm on chapter 4, and then I'll have to play through New Game Plus. That's a lot of content.
What do you think is a sweet spot they want for AAA title games to be? Like, what do you think they want them to cost?
Well, it's interesting because, like, if you play a game, okay, let's compare this to Astrobot and Call of Duty, right? So Astrobot's like a 30-hour experience, AAA game. It's an amazing game of the year, but then it's $30, and I feel like when you're buying a game at full price, you should get, a couple of months of gameplay. That might sound extreme, but that's what I want in a game like that. You look at this Black Myth Wukong, you're looking at like 50 to 60 hours. Then if you look at Call of Duty Black Ops, that could be 1,000 hours of gameplay. So
with the online,
like per dollar of game time, or do you look at it for the experience that you're getting? That's an interesting question to ask.
Well, the whole thing, the $80. Oh,
real quick, I just wanted a Jedi run for $10. Said, don't give me any idea, Reggie. The scalpers would buy all the alternative covers and sell them on eBay. Shout out to the PS crew.
Thanks, Jedi Run.
Jedi Run. The thing with that, if they do buy them all up, that's fine because that would show interest in the games, and the companies will just reprint them again. Like, look at what happened with the PS5. How everybody thought they was going to be sold out and everything like that. Like scalpers are buying all up, and now PS5 Pros are everywhere. That's why I didn't say PS5 Pros. They're in stores everywhere. I can walk down to my local Walmart and pick one up. So scalpers could try it, but they're going to end up just losing money in the long run.
Yeah, D Street got a PS5 Pro for $400 off a marketplace today. He said,
"Yeah, I saw that, man.
Crazy, man. That's a good deal."
Yeah, and even though there's no PS5 Pro games, they're really pushing it like that.
$400 though.
I know it's good to have that system because you have a system that could play certain games when they come out. You got the most powerful version of the PS5, which is what all of us wanted 4 years ago.
That's $700. Not for $800. I didn't want one.
Did he? So I guess he only has to get a disc drive then, because D Street's all about physical.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he'll pick one up.
Yeah. Oh,
apart from Black Myth Wukong, I've started playing Balatro on the Switch, and it is absolutely fantastic. Like, it's such a good game. Oh my god, I haven't really got into like card games like this before, but I put in like 20 hours in the last week or so. It's fantastic, and I want to keep playing it. You can do a run. It can take between 10 and 60 minutes, or maybe a little bit longer if you keep going, but it's fantastic, and there isn't really any like progression in the game or anything. You can kind of unlock things, but it's just all there, ready to play, ready to go. The learning curve isn't that steep. It's simple, but it's a fantastic idea. Yeah. I wanted to bring something up about the game, which I thought was really interesting. It's rated R in Australia. Oh no, in Europe. It's got an R rating in Europe because of it uses poker hands, even though there's no gambling in the game whatsoever. So it's this simple card game, but because it uses poker hands, it's given itself an R rating in Europe, which is quite interesting.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah, they said that it's because it teaches kids how to play poker, or essential rules of poker. Like, it teaches people like what a flush is, what a full house is, what a straight is, that sort of thing. So that alone is why they classify it as a 18+ game, which is preposterous because, like you said, there's no gambling at all. And the creator of the game, he put out like a scathing post. He's like, yeah, it's totally fine for all these companies to have, loot boxes and microtransactions and season passes and card packs and all that. That's not gambling. EA, that's fine. They're not 18 plus, but my game is with 0 microtransactions.
Yeah. FIFA's allowed to be G, but Bellatros are. Like, fuck off.
Kind
One
of
of them
bullshit.
can actually lead to a gambling addiction, and it's not the card game.
And that does 100% affect sales. Like, grandma's not buying an 18 plus game for you at Christmas time. You know what I mean? She's not going to. Well, maybe some grandmas are. Some grandmas, whatever you want, Billy. But I mean, but you know what I mean.
Thankfully, the game's done well enough that got nominated for Game of the Year, so people are playing it. And if you're on the fence about buying it, it's fantastic. Give it a go. Like, oh my god,
it's kind of crazy to think about like how many games got ruined by like microtransactions and things like that. Like the first one that comes to mind for me is Dead Space 3. Like how they tried to really get you to buy a bunch of stuff for that game, which was annoying as hell. I didn't buy anything. I just played the game straight through. I was good to go. But I think only that kind of stuff would work if there wasn't that many games out. You know what I mean? Like if there's like a handful of games out or something like that, people would like invest more time into certain games. They were playing more, and then they would want more stuff going on in those games. There, microtransactions, loot boxes, things like that. They would work, but like with so many games to play. Like people don't want to deal with that shit sometimes, So
I don't. I can't speak for other people. I'm sure the younger generations will disagree, but I avoid every free to play game for the most part. Like I avoid them like the plague. I don't want to play a game that's free to play because if you do, that means the experience is designed to make your experience unpleasant, so you have to spend money. Like on purpose. They'll be like, oh, you want this thing? You could grind for 100 hours or give me $1.
And that's the hook,
and
too.
They're like, well, I don't want to grind for 100 hours. All my friends have this thing. They all gave $1. So, all right, here's $1. And so basically they purposely will design the experience to be unpleasant so that the only way you can have a good time is if you pay. And I just find that fundamentally stupid. And I don't like that. Also,
I got an issue with that because if you're grinding, let's say you take away the microtransaction, you can only get an item by grinding for 100 hours. So only that item represents a grind that you did. Like, oh, you've got that? You did that grind? Now it just represents, oh, you spent $1? That's pathetic. It completely takes away the reward behind the grind.
It's true. And also I believe that without the microtransaction, they would know that 100 hours is too much and that grind would be 20 hours. They would design it to keep they would make it so that you would and have fun. I don't know. They wouldn't design it that way. I just feel that's the way they do it.
Damn you, Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Yeah, exactly. You want to be Darth Vader? 4,000 hours of gameplay, or you can give us $10 or whatever.
Yeah, I
put like
kind of
250 hours into that game. Didn't unlock everyone.
Yeah, I've been kind of guilty of buying some of the microtransactions. Like I remember, like back when the Tales of Azealia came out and Tales of Grace's F, I spent a little money to have it started at a certain level, so I wouldn't have to grind as much. And I just did it because it was cheap at the time. But looking at it now, I was like, man, I could have leveled up and just saved that money. But I don't know. I just didn't feel like grinding at the time. I just wanted to kind of like get to a certain point or just be strong enough to like not have to deal with a certain enemy or whatever like that. But never again, though.
The other point
I honestly don't like that. Like it turns me off the game. And another thing that I dislike is like pre-order bonuses that like give you a boost at the start. Like I don't want to be overpowered.
I don't even use that stuff. Like it's just something to keep you hooked. And they make it look like the bonus stuff is going to be like a physical or something like that to get people wanting it. And it ends up just being some digital content that no one just cares about, So
yeah. Oh, by the way, it expires in 12 months. So you better use it.
Yeah, man, crazy. What they pulled on.
The reason I avoid the free to play games all the time is because that's where the kids are. I want to fucking play with kids.
Oh yeah, cursing and talking about storm.
They don't have any money, so that's the games they're going to play because they're free. So if that's what they're going to do, that's what
I'd rather
pay $50 to not play with all those little kids. Not that there won't be any little kids in my game, but there'll be way less. Like I don't want to play with the kids. Sorry, just being honest.
Yeah.
I rarely play. The only multiplayer game I play is GeoGuessr. You know, I rarely play any multiplayer games on my PlayStation anymore. And if I do, it's because I'm playing with a friend of mine, and that's the only reason we're playing multiplayer is because, you know, it hasn't got a LAN mode or hasn't got a 2-player mode or something.
Yeah, I think Helldivers was probably a better game because it wasn't free to play. I honestly did. Maybe I'm crazy.
That's the same thing we used to say about PUBG. It's better because you got to pay for it, so the kids don't play it.
Yeah, I don't want. Go play Fortnite. Go play something else. Go play Marvel Rivals. Have fun. Go play Overwatch.
Yeah,
see you later.
that game looks hard. Like, I don't know what they're thinking with that one, but whatever.
Super popular, I guess, but I don't know. I'm just not into that genre anymore. I loved Overwatch when it first came out. I really did, but I just got sick of it after a while. Yeah, nothing else to say.
If I want to play a game like that, I'll just play Counter-Strike because it's already there. It does what I want it to do. You know, it doesn't look cartoonish. I don't want to play a cartoonish shooter. Sorry, I like the realistic ones.
Yeah, the other thing I've been playing like crazy is I bought my girlfriend's father. I bought him an Atari Game Station Pro from my arcade. It's like a little digital Atari. And I filled it with just every, Atari game on earth. And I've been playing so much Atari, dude. It's so fun. I fucking love Atari, dude. It's so good. But it's like it's a different gaming experience because it's like almost more like an arcade. Like you go up to an Atari game and you put like maybe a quarter or two in it. You play it for like 5-10 minutes and then you're done with it. You're like, all right.
That's how it was designed, though, because they were designed to make money. You know, they couldn't be 100 hours because you can't have a kid sitting on an arcade machine for 100 hours on a quarter.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
unless you're obsessive. Like I could only play it a few times, try to beat my score a few times, and then I'm like, all right, next game, and it's fun. But like I feel like that's what it was supposed to be back then. Like you said, it wasn't. They had like -1 megabyte of memory to make these things. There's no space to put anything on there, so the games are like short. So, but yeah,
I mean, we might look back in 20 years at this period of game, being like, oh, they just made everything to be a 40-hour or 50-hour experience, so people thought they got their money's worth. Things like that. Who knows?
I don't want games. I mean, I like Final Fantasy Rebirth. I like having a game that's like you can sink your teeth into for sure. I like those big RPGs. But for the most part, I don't need most of my games to be 40-50 hours. I really don't.
No.
10 to 20 hours is plenty. I've had games that are like 8 to 10 hours, and that's it. I love them. Like Inside or Limbo. You ever play any of those games? Something like that?
Oh, yeah.
They're great.
Yeah, you run through in a couple hours.
Stream of them in one day,
Yeah,
those games be better endings,
to feel like they're in the game because we finished it the same day you started.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That's
I
a good
love
experience.
them. Super fun. Yeah, and they weren't wicked expensive, and they were just fun. I ran through them, and they're good. And I'm actually way more likely to replay a game like that than I am some game that's like 100 hours. I am not going to play Rebirth for a while. Let's put it that way. I'm impressed you want to play it again, but I'm going to chill because then again I also have like 52 RPGs I'm backed up on that I feel.
Yeah. Think of the structure of that game, the chapters, how it's done. It's like how everything in chapters that's separate. So I'm gonna play it like that sparingly. But it's a crazy game to go back and play because it's so massive. I totally get you on that, man. It's like whoa, like
I need a break.
I feel like you need breaks from RPGs as well. Like I'll play a big RPG every 5 or 6 months.
The first RPG I got burnt out on was Tales of Zestiria. And that is, to me, is the worst Tales game in the series because it doesn't really, I don't know, the way the combat is and like kind of like finding out where you need to go sometimes, it could take hours to figure things out. And I was like, dude, I remember I made a Facebook post years ago, like how pissed off I was at the game and I was giving up on it. I like this first RPG I gave up on. But of course, I went back and did it and played it again and got through it. But I remember how burnt out I was playing that game. Like, dude, like I didn't play RPG probably for like a year after that.
Yeah,
I was like, dude, no way, too much.
Yeah, I got to.
You guys want to get into some video game pickups?
Sure.
Oh yeah. Who wants to go first?
I'll go.
I've only got a couple. I'll get them
Oh, no, go ahead.
smashed out.
You go. You go, Figs.
So the first one, I was after this for years. I could never find it. It hasn't been copying on eBay for years. I don't collect VR. It's a VR game, but I always wanted it, and it's just one of those things that one finally popped up, so I grabbed it. It's meant to be fun too, and that's VR cards. You can probably find the PAL version or the American version, but the Australian version is pretty hard to find.
I don't know if that got an ESRB. It might be a PAL only. I could be wrong though. I don't know. Let me look.
And then on last week's show, I showed off the Persona 4 Grimoire editions. I got the Persona 3 Grimoire editions as well. So we got the Switch
Nice.
and the PS4 copy. Of course, the Switch copy has the on the box. Apparently, it was a requirement with Nintendo that they have to have the Nintendo Switch on the box, which I love. I wish Sony done that as well because kind of sucks about it.
That's a remake of the PSP version or the PS2?
PSP version.
That's the one we can play as the girl protagonist. Okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the Switch version's got like a dent in the back. I'm kind of seeing it's sold out. So, if I return it, I'll just get a refund where I'd want another version of it. But it is what it is. Happy to have it. I missed out on them originally, so it's pretty cool.
That's a good game. Persona 3 is what got me liking the series.
Yeah, well, I always wanted to buy it, but I don't want to spend $300 on a PS2 game or a PSP game. It's cool to get them for retail price.
One of the most expensive PSP games out there, huh?
Here, I'm ready.
Oh, I'm on. Okay. Well, shoot, I've got Well, I talked about this game on my channel before, which is Star Ocean Blue Spear, but I actually got a blue cart for it. And what you're seeing here is the freaking Game Boy 2 version 2, and you can see it's blue, and then I got the turquoise Superboy. So I thought that was kind of cool. You're seeing all this blue, but
cool.
Yeah, but Star Ocean on the Game Boy Blue Sphere, it got translated a couple years ago, and I love the Star Ocean series. And not only do I love the series, but this is a sequel to my favorite Star Ocean game, which is Star Ocean 2. There is Priestess. She's one of the characters in that game with your other characters, and they're on their own adventure. So it's pretty cool stuff, man. So I made sure I got this. Definitely a solid game.
Never even heard of it. That's a standalone game. It's not like a remake or demake. That's like its own game.
It's its own game. It's a sequel to the second game, but only on
awesome.
Game Boy Color. So it's pretty cool.
It's pretty impressive for a Game Boy game. That's impressive.
Yeah, they went all out, man. The only reason it didn't come out to America, from what I hear, is because the Game Boy Advance is coming out soon, and I guess they didn't feel like translating it or whatever like that. So
it's a pretty damn good looking game for.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, man, impressive.
Yeah.
So I like how they made it work. So next thing I got here, my buddy Ron, he actually one of our local game stores had these Game & Watches that were broken or whatever like that. But my buddy Ron wanted to fix them up, so he bought some parts from overseas, and they finally came. And here is a Mario Cement Factory. Now I already have this game in the box, but this is a more mint in condition one. And I think I told you guys a story what happened to my original copy of it years ago. But I just have this nostalgia with this game. So this one right here is on point. And he fixed a lot of the visuals for it because it had water damage in it really bad. So he had to replace a lot of the stuff inside of it. But I think it came out pretty good. So I'm happy with it. And it was more of a Christmas gift from one of my good friends. So yeah, definitely happy to have this.
I like the Mario and Luigi on the other side. Let's go.
Yeah, dude. I remember playing this game at school. It was so much fun because we were just those type of like video games were just really entertaining to us. And
dude, I love speaking of Atari and like the original Mario Brothers, not Super Mario Brothers, the original OG. I love that game. That's one of my absolute favorite old school games. Love it to death.
Yeah, it's freaking awesome.
I got to like level 30 or something once. That was the best I've done.
I got this game, Survival Horror, for the Switch, only available on the Switch, and that is Faith. Oh, sorry. You guys heard of this one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the one that had some
I haven't
fucking
seen it.
glitch on it or something.
Yeah, they
Looks
said
like
they had
just
to,
Christmas trees on the cover.
you had to patch the game for it to be playable at a certain point. I heard. I found out about that after I bought the game and opened it. So I'm like, whatever, man. Like, I'm fine with it at this point. Every game needs to be patched or whatever like that. They said they're going to come out with another physical version, but I don't see the point in it. But unless they add some extras on it. But it's supposed to be a trippy survival horror game, so
That's
I'm
cool.
definitely going to check it
Speaking of
out.
Atari, that looks like an Atari game. Yeah.
Exactly. And I got this at GameStop. GameStop was carrying. There's a GameStop around me that freaking has like everything in there. Like they're
That's
a true
so
GameStop.
cool. Look at this
And
game.
to go in there and find something I wanted was pretty awesome because we took a risk going there. We like,
That's
man,
creepy.
I know, right? So definitely something that's pretty interesting, and I'm
It
pretty sure.
literally looks like an Atari game, and then it has amazing cinematics.
Yeah, I know, right? So another cool one,
That is
a
cool.
Switch exclusive. I think I showed this one last time, but I'm not sure. I didn't feel like going through the video, but I got Unicorn Overlord.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
So I had kind of like ignored this game, but this game's amazing.
Mm.
It hooked me from the beginning. And this is another RPG I'm going to get into. I'm still going to wait, but I had to play a bit of it to kind of get a feel for it to make sure it's going to be something I wanted to play. And it is. It's Vanillaware they've never really let me down. Only with delays they let me down. But other than that, man, they've been great. Like ever since Odin Sphere, dude, I love them. So definitely.
Well, Dragon's Crown was great as well.
Yeah, man, Dragon's Crown. I didn't get the best experience with that one because I didn't get to play it online with people that much. Like a lot of people at that
I
time.
played Dragon's Crown with friends on the couch. Like
Really?
I would have friends come over and be like, "You got so many games. Which one should we play?" I'm like, "We're playing this one," and we sit down and play it together. I've done it with heaps of people. It's so much fun.
Yeah, and with the PS3 version, which is still online, folks, you can play online with people. You can play online cross-platform, so you can play with people on the Vita, PS4, or whatever. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, definitely something. I think a lot of people. I think it's the. I won't say it's the least best-selling game in the series, but I think it's the one people kind of like didn't really pay attention to. But Dragon's Crown is amazing. Like think of something like Dungeons and Dragons from Capcom in a way. You'll kind of get like what the feel for it. So next game here, I triple dipped. It happens here and there, but I found it for a good deal. Joe, you're gonna laugh when you see this one, man. But I end up triple dipped. I got Guilt
to the next level.
for the PS5. So yeah, good old Guilt is
You
here
love that
again.
game, though.
Dude, I was playing the hell out of it again, man. I might try to go for all the trophies again on it. Yeah, Guilt is so much fun, dude. It's a unique game, man. I think a lot of people will like it. But I don't think a lot of people will hear about it because it only got a physical overseas. But definitely a great game. It is on sale right now for $7 on PSN if anybody wants to pick it up. But I think it's one of those games that won't let you down, man. It's just creepy enough, man, to really keep you hooked in it. And the production values they put into the game, I think are great. So
Yeah, it's a nice looking game.
It's scary to think this was going to be a Stadia exclusive. Like, how the hell did they pull that off? But they made it. They probably got Stadia money to put it exclusive. But ever since the Stadia went under, I mean, it was never even over in a way because it's not even a physical system. But they made a physical for it for Switch, PS4, and PS5, and maybe even soon to be Xbox for some people. Who knows? But the Switch version was the last one made. They wanted that Switch money. And definitely. It's a mix of Alan Wake and Silent Hill. Just let people know.
And it looks like Little Nightmares to me. That gives me that creepy.
A little bit of Little Nightmares. Man, I can't wait for Little Nightmares 3 to come out. Like, that's the one I'm waiting for.
It looks awesome.
Oh, actually, the people who made Little Nightmares Part 1 and 2, they're not making Little Nightmares 3. They pass it off to somebody else, but the game they're making instead of Little Nightmares 3 is freaking insane, dude. It's called Reanimated or something like that, or Reanimal. It's something weird. I have to show you guys a picture of it in a second here, but it looks to be amazing, and it's co-op online, so that's going to be amazing. But cool. Yeah, sorry about yammering on too much about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Little Nightmares 3 is like a big departure from the first two games. It's not like a 2D.
Yeah.
I think it's 3D now instead of 2D.
No, it's still 2D. It's still 2D. Okay. It's just that the story is different because Little Nightmares 2 ended on a cliffhanger, which pissed people off. Again, like, dude, stop putting us on cliffhangers. Give us a closed story if you don't want to do a sequel. Well, they never listen. I did get this pixel art controller for Tetris. Got to represent.
No, that's cool.
I'm not really a Hyperkin guy, but hopefully they're doing better products now, right? This one came in recently. So you guys are talking about Inside and Limbo. Well, those creators made a third game called Somerville. I don't know if you guys heard of this one.
Okay.
This one plays just the same as those games, but it's more like 3D2 at some points.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe it has to do with an alien invasion that happens in this town, and you and your family are trying to survive the aftermath of it and everything. So it's pretty unique from what I've seen. Super Rare decided to make this physical. This could have easily went on Switch or the PS4.
I think it only came out on PS5, right?
Maybe it did. Yeah. As a physical, yeah.
I don't think they had a Switch version of it on their site, which is super weird for them.
Exactly. I thought they would have made I don't know, they're always about the Switch stuff usually on that site, but they're switching it up, which is good. I like that. The only thing we're seeing less of is PS4 games because everybody wants. It seems like all these developers want PS4 to end when it comes to physicals. They want to just move on, but not us.
I think Super Rare might be done with PS4. I think I bought the 4 they released because I knew that would happen. They're like, we're going to start doing PS4. I'm like, now?
Yeah, so late, dude.
Not for long. I'm like, I can't imagine you're going to be making them very long. So I grabbed the 4 they came out with. Yeah,
and that's what kind of ended up happening. So yeah, Somerville, folks, definitely check it out if you want something unique. And next up,
we'll do a game on different systems, a way to reprint games without technically reprinting them. Yeah, 2 more. I did get the King of Fighters 98 again on accident. They were supposed to send me. They sent me the wrong package, so they just told me to keep this one. Yeah, hold on. There we go. Get the footage ready to go. So here it is again. What happened? Oh, damn. I hate when that happens. I thought I need to get my Stream Deck hooked up so I can just push a button and everything works out. But that's the Pix and Love edition of the game. Comes in a snap case and everything like that. But there's not really much to say about King of Fighters 98. It's a verse fighting game, considered one of the best in the series because of the roster. It is a dream match game, so there's no real story in it. It's like there's one of those what if scenarios. But Pix and Love does the best like collector's edition for these Neo Geo games because they keep it true to the Neo Geo shock boxes. So I love that. So definitely something pretty cool. They actually did some kind of a collection release of it, all 4 games they put out for the series. But that sold out immediately. They're like the anniversary edition, so it's like, damn, dude, already. But yeah, man,
expensive. I remember you showing that.
Yeah, it's like $400, man. Dude.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody in Brazil got their copy though. Everyone wanted that mug. But yeah, King of the Fighters 98, and last game here. She got Shantae and the 7 Sirens.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, I have every Shantae game for the Switch except Pirate's Curse, obviously, because that goes for crazy amounts of money. But the Shantae series is especially the first part 2 and 3, I think are some of the best games in the series. So I really enjoy them. But it's not showing the footage. I thought I was going to show you guys footage for a second. Hold on a second here.
I mean, at this point, I've got every Shantae game, but just across multiple systems.
Yeah, I know, right? The only Shantae game we're missing is the one that got canceled for the Game Boy Advance, which is supposed to come out sometime next year or so. Well, hopefully that'll happen soon. But they only releasing it for the Game Boy Advance first. I'm like, dude, I'm not going to buy that version. I'm going to buy it on the regular system because I'm just not trying to play these type of games on my Game Boy Advance anymore unless I'm playing on the big screen or whatever like that. So, yeah, but yeah, happy to have this. Great games if you guys like action platforms. And that's going to do it for my pickups. Joe Rad, you have to take it over, man. It's all up to you now.
Let's do it. So I don't have too much stuff, but I did get my...
We're all still recovering.
Lollipop Chainsaw Repop came in from Limited Run Games. This is the remastered version of Lollipop Chainsaw. Heard good things and bad things about it. I heard it doesn't play that great for a remaster.
I think Doug was kind of saying it's not real up to par.
Yeah, I've
Like-
heard it's got some issues, but
I'm happy with my standard PS3 copy.
I still got my PS3 copy, which I played and I loved it and I enjoyed it, and it's
But-
also got like all the original music. I don't think this one has all the original music too.
No,
They had a problem
definitely
with that too, which always bothers me. So, but these were cheap. This was only like they weren't charging $60-$70 for these. They were like $29.99 for these remakes.
Yeah.
So I figured I'd grab it. Something to have for the collection, and I can play it on my PS5 if I ever want to.
Their goal, I think, the company's goal, they want to make a sequel to it. So they make a sequel. They always got to see where the demand is at with the originals. So hopefully it sold well.
Well, as long as they do something about that damn male gaze, you know what I mean? Cover her up a little bit, maybe put 50 pounds on her. Maybe we give her a freaking glass eye and a peg leg or some shit. That was
Peg leg too, huh?
that's what we need. You know, maybe it'd be cool, like a big fucking goiter on her face. We don't have enough goiter representation. She have a giant fucking cyst. You know what I mean? That would really improve the experience. So as long as they do that, I'm down for the sequel. If they just make her a hot chick, come on, man, grow up.
Years have passed, right?
Grow up. I got Shadows of the Dam too.
Dude, they needed to change the cover of that game, man. The Japanese cover is like the best cover ever. I don't know why they don't.
This is
put
too
that cover.
serious of a cover for how silly of a game it is. This looks like a weird religious experience or something.
Mm-hmm.
And the game itself is absolutely ridiculous. So this was like when I first started streaming a long time ago, one of my viewers suggested I get this game on PS3 and play it. And I so happy they did. I had a blast playing this game. It is freaking super fun. It's gross. It's weird. It's immature. It's dumb. It's perfect. It's everything I want from a game.
It's just a remake of the first one, right?
Yeah.
Just a remaster, nothing fancy. I got no idea how it plays or if it's busted up or anything like that. But I really love this game, so I had to pick this up just for the collecting purposes. I'll keep this sealed and probably just play my PS3 copy if I ever want to play it again.
I looked at it and when I already got it, I don't need to buy it again.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't, it's not a necessary thing, but I don't know. Like, if there's a game I really love, I'll buy it again. Just is what it is. All right, so I figured you guys know those games. I'll show these last three. I can share the footage. So I got this one right here, Mia and the Dragon Princess.
What is that about?
So this
haven't seen that before.
is a FMV game.
Oh.
It says it's a live action interaction movie. It says Mia is thrown into chaos when a mysterious woman turns up at her workplace on the run from a group of violent thugs and unable to speak English. So it's like a thriller type one. I haven't played it yet. Just got it. But I love these games.
Is it on Amazon?
It was a limited run game.
Oh.
So you'll
Never
probably
mind.
have to just wait for VGP.
That's true.
That's what I
I
would
like,
do.
I like the FMV games. The last one I got was like Night Shift. That one was awesome.
Night Shift.
Mario said there's a reversible cover as well. So that'd be cool.
There's a reverse. Why is that sharing it so weirdly? Anyway, that's the Mia and the Dragon Princess.
Okay.
I'm trying to get like every FMV game. I absolutely love these games. So these are the best party games you can buy. If you are sitting around with a group of people, especially people who do not play video games, who are like
Those are the type of games to let them play.
These are the fucking shit, dude. Because like everybody in the room can contribute. Be like, do this, do that, do this, do that, blah 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 blah, and then like anybody can control the controller. And there's nothing funnier to me that you give someone the controller and the little timer goes and they have to pick. And they're like, I don't know what to pick. And then they pick something and then something horrible happens. It's so funny. It really is. They're like, I don't know. I'm just going to open the door. And then like, oh, don't open the door. And all the dogs run in and murder like everyone in the room or something. It's like, what are you doing?
So you got Erica and you got the other one called the one where they're in the lab. I forgot what it was called.
The bunker.
The Complex.
Yeah, I got them all, dude.
Those two are awesome games, man. I didn't beat the bunker. It started off really slow, but I think I should play it because I think I might like it.
We got Shapeshifting Detective, Madness of Dr. Decker. Erica's really good. That's one of the best ones.
That's one of the best ones, yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. I got Complex. Who pressed mute on Uncle Marcus? I don't know what the fuck that is, but I got it. Bloodshore. Yeah, I think I have them all. The Night Trap and Kids on Sight and all that shite. I picked up all that crap too. I also have this gem right here. It's called Escape Goat 2.
Literally a goat on the cover.
Yeah, you got. Come on, man. How could you not love Escape Goat 2? Let me share.
Wow. Is there an Escape Goat 1?
There is, but like not that I think you can buy physically, not that I know of. So this is like yeah. It's a cool little like
That's not what I was expecting. So
it's like a puzzle game. Like I said, I've been really into Atari lately, and like I've really been enjoying simple one screen arcade games, platformers, little puzzle games and stuff like that. And I don't know, this one just gave me all the vibes that it looked like it would be fun. You play as a little goat and you have to figure out the little puzzles and you have all these crazy abilities and it looks really fun. And I got it for like insanely dirt cheap. Like this thing was like $8 or something. So yeah, I don't know. It's not game of the year. I'm not going to tell you. It'll change your life, but Escape Goat 2. Let's go. And then the last thing I got was Skinny and Franco, Fists of Violence.
Hey, I reviewed that game a couple of years ago, man. Like it's brutal, man. Like your characters you beat up, their face expressions, like that, it'll show what you did to them, man. Pretty much, like it's not like they get beat up in that game. All kind of weird stuff happens, man, where a dog will start humping your leg or something like that that's walking by. It's just all kind of craziness. And it's fun. It's a sequel to I think somebody told me like in a Commodore or Atari game or Amiga game or something like that. So,
yeah, probably. I don't know. I've never heard of the characters. I don't know who Skinny and Franco are.
Yeah, man, it's pretty brutal. It's fun. But the only thing I hated about the game is the levels last too long. Like some levels just go on forever. You know, so it's kind of annoying. But yeah.
Yeah, I like these are cool. And this is the latest release from Limited Legacy Games. This is their release. I didn't get the cool FOMO cover, but that's okay.
I think that cover is better than the one you have.
They're both cool. I do like the FOMO cover a lot, though. It's like they call it the noir cover. It's black and white, and it's just got the two main characters on it. But yeah, overall, this is actually a better artwork, in my opinion.
Look at running the guys over. That's freaking hilarious. The thing with the company, the first game they released was Boxfield. Did you ever see that game?
So the first game they actually took orders for is Pigsy. And I pre-ordered that shit. And they haven't sent me no Pigsy.
That's right. They're having trouble with that one. But they did Boxfield. They sent me a copy for me and Jason. And I don't think Jason really cared for it to put it in the pickups video or whatever like that. So I did a video on my channel, but they were asking me, hey, did you guys do a pickups video? I was like, nah, man, I just didn't really care for it. But or whatever. But they expect, I guess they sent us so they expect us to put everything in a pickups video, but we have to like the games like that though.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
You know what I mean? So he hit me up again, asked me if I did a review on it. And then I said, yeah, you guys gonna send me Skinny and Franco? He said, hey, he just kind of ignored me. I was like, wow, okay. So yeah, I already know where that's gone. He's mad it didn't show up on Jason's channel. So
well, you can set stuff.
That's one of those things you can't just pick a game and print it because it's a game. It has to be a good game as well.
It'd be a good game, and that's YouTube. We're not going to just review everything. I talked about it out of courtesy, but it's not a game I want to play.
Not everything is as good as Escape Goat 2.
Right. Or Skinny and Franco. They should have did Skinny and Franco first before anything. So they kind of like set the staple of like what kind of games they're going to put out. You look at something like Boxfield, you're like, dude, come on.
That's kind of artsy.
You're just doing it just to have a release. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
I overall, like I said, I support companies that are trying to release physical games. and I want to support the smaller ones, especially like Limited Legacy and like Rocket and like the newer companies, because I don't want it to be just limited run games. I don't want that. No, not like nothing against them. I think they overall do a very good job. There's a reason why they're popular. There's a reason why companies want to work with them, and
They've also got the most controversies behind them.
They may take a while to send stuff out, but they have sent out everything that I've ever ordered from them. There are no orders that I have from limited run games that are like 4 years old. None, not a single one. While other companies do. I have companies that have 2-3 year old orders. So.
What companies would you tell people right now, the audience, to avoid if they're going to buy a game from a limited printed company? Like, well, who should they avoid?
First press games.
First press games. I wouldn't waste my money at all. They just announced a new game too. Like they're taking. Are you serious? Yeah, they just announced some new game they're taking pre-orders for, and like, yeah, I was on Twitter and I was just like, don't order anything from them. Don't fall for it. Like they still said they're supposed to be shipping Chained Echoes, and I haven't seen that shit. I know you said that some people posted in the chat on Facebook, but I couldn't find any posts. So
I've seen a couple of people post their copies on Facebook.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I haven't seen mine. I definitely haven't gotten them.
Well, so, I was waiting to see copies show up on Facebook before I ordered one, and finally ordered one, and it's like, well, is that a waste of money? Hopefully it shows up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still haven't gotten mine. Mine has been ready to ship since like fucking, a year ago. So wherever
that Chain of Echoes game that everybody's been wanting, as soon as they start putting out like the physical copies of it, the game gets digital content announced for it.
Yeah.
So how annoying was that?
I mean, hopefully another company gets the rights to it and prints a complete version.
They've locked down the rights and they do not want to give them up, man. Like I think one of my friends, John Lester, he has a game called Sydney Hunter that should have got a physical years ago, like back before COVID started. And he's stuck in limbo with these guys. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I wish he would have went with someone like Premium Edition Games or something like that. Everybody would have had Sydney Hunter in their households, but yeah, just so annoying.
Yeah, that's the only one I would straight up tell people to avoid. I would literally not pre-order anything from them. If they have it in stock and for a fact people have received copies, then yeah, maybe you can order one. But I'd probably stick to secondhand market, and pay a little bit more just to get it.
Just to be safe,
just to get the game. Strictly Limited is a huge question mark, man. I mean, I love them to death, and I'm not writing them off yet for any reason. Like I do believe they will still ship games, and they're trying.
I'd buy stuff when it's in stock. I just wouldn't pre-order from them. Yeah. Because I bought something in stock the other day. It was here in like 3 weeks.
Yeah, anything off the Amazon store that's theirs will get to you quickly.
Yeah, even though their Amazon store hasn't been updated, besides IRIM Collection 1, they need to update it with a couple more newer releases. But we'll see if that happens soon, hopefully.
So they make me nervous, but I wouldn't say they're like irredeemable or anything like that.
They've been good, Joe, for like releasing games that are that didn't get finished back in the day. Like the whole thing with that one game called Clockwork Ocarina. Yeah, that was an arcade game that wasn't finished, and they helped get that released. And something else too, the Ray what's that game called you were looking for?
Ray's Chronology.
Yeah, that game has a Ray Gears on it, which was the second Ray game that didn't get released. So that's on there too. So I like them for that, but they got to get it together with getting this stuff out, man. Because they're kind of like falling. They've been falling behind, but people are going to just start looking past them, and they're just going to be like a distant memory.
It's like a massive snowball effect too, where like you start to fall behind, and then all of a sudden your PR goes to shit. So like they can't post on Twitter without getting 20 angry replies.
Yeah, because people haven't got there.
So they've had to turn replies off and stop.
Not First Press turned everything off. Strictly doesn't turn everything. At least they have the balls to like not do that. But Strictly will be like, "Hey guys, just these 3 things are on sale in our store. And
where's my stuff at?"
20 replies. Yeah, where's my motherfucking collector's edition?
Yeah, so people who don't even know what's going on, they're reading that because this is all all these companies deal with their customers direct on social media. It's not like they're a big company and we're over here. No, we're together these days, talking to the devs and talking to the reps and everything.
Yeah, and so then that's going to kill their sales because people will see that and be like, "Oh, I'm not ordering from these guys." They look at all these people haven't gotten their stuff. They're pissed. And so that's a problem. And then eventually people get so pissed they demand refunds. They will start being like, give me my fucking money back. And you know, people will harass them until they get their refunds. And so then once they start refunding people, they start losing money that they don't have because they, you know what I mean? And it's like this huge snowball effect where it's a huge problem. And so they start like denying refunds and blocking comments, and then they turn into first press. And like, you know, I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I don't think it's going to happen. It sounds like they're making changes to the way they do things. It sounds like they're obviously going to be more picky about the releases they do. And I hope that they figure it out. I do, because I like them, and I always have. Like up until they started having problems, they were like my favorite company.
Really?
Well, I had some of the coolest releases initially.
And all they would do is release fire shmups, man. Stardust Galaxy Warriors. I fucking love that game, dude.
Yeah,
the
that's a good one.
game, so good. Like they have a lot of good shmups. So yeah.
Griffin Knight Epic. Sorry, Joe.
We don't talk about
Joe,
that one.
I'm sending you a picture, Joe, in the chat. Do you remember this limited printed company? And hopefully this goes through. Hold on a second here.
Joel.
There's been a couple of limited printed companies that kind of fell off.
Joel.
All right, Joe, I sent it to you.
Okay.
Maybe the chat knows if that about this company.
Oh yeah. God, what was this one called? Is it called Warned? No.
Yeah, that's them.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember this ever actually.
Well, I think it is. I think it should be. I don't know. Who knows? That's a horrible name.
Didn't Strictly Limited do Pan Kupu?
They did the PS4 copy. This company is going to do the Switch copy.
Oh, okay. Fury's a good game. I was happy that got a physical.
Yeah, there's a few companies that just like didn't ever actually freaking.
So Dispatch Games, I think they're falling off too, man, because they haven't released anything in a minute. They haven't even released that Game Paradise that they were supposed to release on the Switch a couple of years ago. So they're still in some kind of limbo.
Yeah, Dispatch Games I've heard is a scam.
Hard Copy Games is gone.
They weren't a scam though. They just stopped making games.
No, they weren't a scam, but they just stopped because they couldn't really compete. And the games they were putting out were kind of like, I don't want to say they're lame, but they just weren't catchy enough to really,
They had some stinkers, but they had like the Dusk was a great game. That last game was fantastic.
Yeah.
Then they have that game, The Eternal Castle, which is a really cool game.
First print.
I'm still waiting on Limited Rare's PS5 game to come out.
First print games are still around, so maybe I don't know if they made any releases though.
They were legit. I just don't think. I don't know if their stuff's sold. I haven't seen them come out with anything in forever.
Yeah.
Is Special Reserve Games still around, or did they go under as well?
They're done.
No, they went under. Yeah, they're done. They sell on eBay the rest of their stock, but I don't know what happened with them, man. They just couldn't keep up. They were selling their stuff through limited run for a minute too. That's how crazy.
They were one of the first ones. They were around a long time ago.
They had some issues with Broforce.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, dude, it took them years to come out with that game, dude. Years. But which isn't their fault. It was like they did it right, if you ask me. They were going to release the game. They announced it. They took pre-orders. And then the people who made the game, they were like, we're going to do 57 more updates to the game. And they were like, okay.
That's where Broforce Forever came into.
We're going to wait until, you're good.
Yeah, you got to, if you're dealing with developers, you got to come with a finished product if you're going to like make a game physical with them. Like I say, hey, are you guys done with this game? If they're not, then I don't know, man. We wanted something else, man. Like the whole thing with physical and indie, you want it to be a complete product, not something that's going to have a bunch of patches on, whatever like that. So,
well, look what just happened with Ease 10. Like, I'm so glad I brought the collector's edition for East 10 Nordic, which is cool. But now I'm like, okay, great. It's not even the nice version of the game. And you know how I roll. I was going to buy it again, the standard edition, to play it because I didn't want to open my collector's edition. Now I heard that they're doing the new version, so I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to wait another year to play this game. So I'm just waiting for the new version of that to come out. I'll buy that standard edition and play that and keep my collector's edition sealed. That's irritating, man. Like,
That's
100%.
AAA games these days, but because they don't have game testers, so the updates are put out later. After
Yeah,
the game
getting
comes
rid of
out.
game testers was one of the worst things they could have done, man. Like making us game testers for them, it just really sucks because they used the day one patch as a crutch. And we seen how like out of hand it's gotten, So, yeah, ugh.
It's just become the industry standard. Look at every Persona game that's come out recently. All the Final Fantasies have all got. I played Final Fantasy VII. That wasn't even the final version of it. There's a better version to play now. It's like I'm not going to replay a game just because it's a little bit better to play. And it's crazy, the industry these days.
It is 100%. So yeah, I guess that's gonna close it out for tonight.
Yeah, it was a fun little special. We didn't
Thanks
talk about
everyone for watching. We will be back next year. Whether it'll be a new season or a new episode, we'll definitely be back.
Yep.
Next year, next month, next week.
Yeah. So I've been really lazy and I haven't been booking, but I need to book this show for the next couple of months and get that going.
We'll put out a post to see who wants to hop on, and we'll.
Yeah, I'll put out a post on X. So yeah,
anybody
want
to come on, send any of us a message, and we'll sort something out.
Yep. Yeah. So I've said it before. You don't have to have 1 million subscribers or anything crazy on YouTube or whatever. You don't even have to be like a content creator to come on here. You just have to be a collector
or have a passion for it.
Yeah, it's got to be into games, into collecting, have a nice collection, have a mic, have a camera, not be a psycho. That's all that matters.
A psycho.
Yeah, well, or just a weirdo. Can't be sending me your underwear in the mail. None of that stuff.
Right on.
And then
I guess for you too, Joe. I've gotten a bit of that this year.
Yeah, well, that's a little extra something. I had to keep this, package secure from rattling around, so I had to use what I had.
Had to keep the Elder Scrolls Online secured.
Exactly. I can't have loose discs showing up. So yeah, definitely. If you're interested, send me a message. If you guys enjoyed the show, if it's the first time watching, make sure you please like, share, and subscribe to my channel, FigZ, Radical One, everything, all that stuff's down in the comments below.
Yep.
And I hope everybody here had a wonderful Christmas, and hope everybody has a happy New Year. And we'll see you guys all soon.
Have a good night, everyone. Peace.
Bye, everybody.
You found the coolest place to be, the PlayStation collecting season. Come on, won't you stay with me? Welcome to the show. Gather round the boys and girls, collectors from around the world. Let's show the people what they need to know. Welcome to the show. Gonna talk to guests, only got the best. Gonna put their knowledge to the test. Gonna laugh and eat, gonna live the creed, gonna show you things you've never seen. Gonna sing the song to the break of dawn. Gonna rock this party all night long. So come on everybody, let me see you dance. Get yourself ready, you can one more chance.